We have a treehouse. If you wanted to stay with us.
That's
There's
very generous.
literally nowhere to sleep.
Well, Cal
for you.
usually gets the couch.
Yeah.
But there's space in the living
He
room.
won't move.
Yeah.
I have a...
And the head probably won't talk to you.
What now? Hello, and welcome to Khyber Shards, a 5th edition actual play show set in the Eberron Campaign world. Casey, what happened last time?
We were all kindly escorted back to a room in which the Stormlords were discussing our fate, nonchalantly. They were debating whether or not to hand us over to a representative of House Madani. The representative was clearly tied to the Black Wheel program. He had the emblem of the Rekindlers on his shoulder. Mm-hmm. They did not care that we were present and continued to discuss it until Thora walked in and bought us with secrets. She had intelligence to offer and swooped in, saved the day, and we were able to walk out with our lives. For the moment.
And freedom? Question mark?
I mean, Thora made it fairly clear that she's not interested in owning you.
We are grateful to her.
Yeah, but I've never been bought before, so I don't know how this works.
Can we just walk away?
I don't see a receipt, so.
So, we will pick ourselves up right there. With everyone outside. Thora, it's not evident whether Thora's moving in a particular direction, but she is leading you through the streets as you walk along. But she's not hurrying. She's setting a fairly
Where are we going?
light pace. Well, I thought a bite might be appreciated.
Oh, now that you say something, I am very hungry.
That'll work.
There's this goblin that sells these delightful little skewered tentacles. No,
Pog and him have beef, so
no,
probably not.
No, it's mostly. I think it's called calamari.
No.
He said some unkind words.
No,
I like them.
Somewhere else then.
The ship's cat is very nice.
Ship's cat. That's good to know. Maybe somewhere you don't frequent just this once.
Yeah. Well, we're in a totally different part of town, so.
Yeah.
Away from the map shop would be best.
We're well away from that. I'm not too worried about it. We'll avoid the marketplace. Probably wise.
Forever.
That you don't go near the map shop. Yeah.
Oh, you don't go near the map shop either, huh? Yep.
No, you shouldn't go near the map shop, I think. Really, I think Esri's the one that made the real impression.
I'm sorry, how do you know that?
You know a lot.
What do you mean? What do you mean the map shop we stay away from?
Right. Yes. So here's the thing. I've been keeping tabs on you for a few weeks now. Trying to get a feel for what you were up to and where you stood in various ways. As once I found you here, and I was going to try and find my own time to introduce myself again, and it seemed to become urgent this afternoon. Or this evening, I suppose. Oh, it's evening now.
Thank you for saving our life twice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That was very nice of you.
Right.
While we're walking, do you happen to know why they think that we're dead in regards to the people that were involved in the map shop? You seem to know things.
Well,
Or was that your doing?
and she
3 times.
she reaches up and sort of adjusts, touches a ring on her right ear, and her form sort of shimmers and then shifts into that of a nicely dressed half elf in a trench coat and fedora, with a Madani badge on.
Ah. Very good. Thank you.
That, Falco was unconscious, so there wasn't really anyone to contradict me. And she touches it again, and it fades back to her current form.
Very good.
That's very cool.
Hi.
That's very good.
Citadel Tech. Good stuff.
I can do that too, but it's fine. It's fine. Whatever.
She leads you around and to a bar not very far from the arena, called the Net and Trident, and leads you inside and over to a booth.
Ari takes a seat.
So what kind of food do they have here?
I don't know. I've never been.
Ari grabs the little
Most
stand with
places
today's
have-
specials and hands it to Pog.
So,
Nobody?
I think it's only fair to let you go first. I've been watching you for a while, ever since I found you, and that gives me the advantage. So I think it's only fair I let you go first.
I mean,
How did you find us?
what he said.
And
Right.
who else is looking for us?
Well, I wouldn't say
And is there
anyone's.
a waiter?
Someone comes over to take your order.
Lazar iced tea, please.
That's just rum, sir.
Another one, please.
On ice.
Right. I guess you don't know. And she holds up her left hand, and you can see her dragon mark sort of swirls down along her palm. And as all dragon marks do, there is a sort of impressionistic dragon shape to it, and it's almost as though the eye of the dragon is directly in the center of her palm, and it is glowing very faintly. That's
Follows me when I move.
that's one of the things mine does. I can sense
Other
I can
marks.
sense other aberrants, other marks.
I mean, not to take it too far back, but we obviously left the situation in a hurry a couple years ago. So what happened? Like, obviously Blackwheel is still a thing, unfortunately, or
It's shifted. It's got a bit of a cover now. There's a Blackwheel company that's a mercenary operation. It's mostly ex-soldiers, folks that don't know how to go back to peace exactly, or frankly don't have anything to go back to, and which is not an inconsiderable number of people. They take in adventurers. They're a bit of a more heavily armed rival to the Wayfinders in some ways. they started doing, or seemed to be doing, regular work, and I for a bit wondered if it was just a coincidence. The name, the ostensible commander of the organization doesn't seem to have any direct connection to the houses, but in the last year or so, they've seemed to have become under a permanent retainer, as it were, to the 12. They've been recovering lost sites, salvaging in the Mournland, exploration in Zendrick and other locations, also things like that. So it seems to be largely the same intention with the Blackwheel Company, with the Blackwheel project, but under a bit of it's got a bit of a front going at this point.
How many made it
Esri,
out?
Esri, simply because you have, of the characters, probably the most times inquired about the people from your past. You distinctly remember that Thora's mark was on her face.
Is she lying to us?
You can make an insight check.
Wow. We're doing this. All right. I rolled a natural 2. I'm going to try that again. Some damage. Because I can't... Oh. Natural... No, okay. Looked like... 13.
13. She's hard to read.
Yeah.
I believe I interrupted Ari. Oh. Somebody. I don't know.
Thora.
Yes, Esri.
You look different. Like, not you changed your hair different.
I did, though.
What?
Looks good.
Right. You ever met anyone? See your marks on your skin, aye? And best we can tell, it's exactly skin deep. If you lose the mark, you lose the limb your mark's on, the skin gets cut off or something else, it comes back. It just doesn't always come back in the same place. And she sort of brushes the hair back from the left side of her face, and you can see that the entire left side of her face is just a mass of scars. And then she lets the hair fall back down.
There was a lot of story you left out in that,
I'm sorry?
You said, and that seemed to encompass the entirety of the story that you're not telling us.
I didn't know Soren could do that when I came to rescue you. He had a trick I didn't know. He set my mark on fire. I didn't know. Apparently they developed a spell for that purpose, for defense against us.
Sounds awful.
Aye. It didn't feel better than it sounds.
So,
You're sure it was him?
Soren?
Yeah.
Aye.
how many other trainees made it out?
As far as I know, the other teams that went in got a few dozen out, scattered. About half of us that went in didn't come out.
Who are you with now?
just operating independently. At the moment.
Doing what?
Well, I'm working that out. I've got some ideas and some personal funds with which to make it happen, but I have in mind that Stormreach is a bit of a land of opportunity, if you will.
Yeah.
They called you. Why are you able to just walk into a meeting of Stormlords?
I have some past association with Kyrus. I wasn't able to just walk in. I had to send in. I had to ask. She knew I wasn't there without something to offer.
How do we
So
do that? How do we get enough power that that they hear us when we talk?
You need to get to know them. You need to understand what they're after. Kyrus likes secrets. That's what she gets her power from. She knows everything going on in the city. And quite a lot going on outside the city. Offering her a file full of old British intelligence. An easy option. Especially it wasn't... Please don't take this as unflattering, but you weren't very expensive, to be quite honest.
That is
They
very
wouldn't-
unflattering.
They wouldn't have wanted to hand you over. They just needed a reason not to do it.
Fair enough.
No, because one reason was us asking them not to, and they didn't care.
You're not wrong. That wasn't to them. That reason didn't weigh much against trouble with the houses to them. It doesn't weigh much against trouble with the houses to a lot of people.
S3 reaches inside of his... I suppose it's his armor, but it doesn't necessarily look like armor, but reaches in and finds a pocket and pulls out the one medal that he kept from the ones they were given, and looks at it for a second and then slides it over to her.
She takes it and flips it in her hand. If you ever have a chance to see Dane again, he might like to have it back, but
You don't see him.
not in a while.
So, what are you working on in the city?
Well, let me...
Also, are you aware that Tommel is alive? Also, I'm guessing.
Get it. Good scratch. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, felt good. I heard that. Yeah.
And they've
I didn't have a
all-
chance to talk to him.
that is a blessing upon you. Him and the Stormhammers have all left the city. The map that we stole, we gave to them, and that might be unleashing some unholy terror on the city. We don't know, but that's the situation that's cooking.
Well, if they're out there in the jungle, there's probably not much we can do about it at this point.
That's true. I just wanted to. That's probably the most significant thing that we have to bring you up to speed on in the city. Is there might be something awful coming, but yeah.
There always might be something awful coming.
I understand.
There usually is
in a metaphysical sense what you're saying, but I mean,
Hog is
there's an
correct.
actual thing. Yeah. Anyway.
Right. Well, we'll see to that when it gets here.
So, are you staying around?
You know, I have nowhere else to go.
Samesies.
I've more or less run through my safe houses. This is a place that houses don't just automatically get their way.
Yeah. They've been seeming to get more power here, though. It's been
Yeah,
growing.
as peace comes to the land, they've got a lot of assets they're shifting around, so they're moving in. You're not wrong.
We have a treehouse. If you wanted to
Right.
stay with us.
That's
There's
very generous. They
literally
have-
nowhere to sleep
Well, Cal
for you.
usually gets the couch.
Yeah.
But there's space in the living
He
room.
won't move.
I have a
And the head probably won't talk to you.
the what now?
The head.
What species is Thora? Forget.
Thora is human.
Human. She's not an elf. She couldn't hear it anyway.
How would I know?
We have
He's never
an
said
Iranian
anything to me.
Bust that talks
Because
to
you're not an elf.
So
I see.
I don't know the rules if the rules aren't for me.
I'm assuming she has somewhere that she's been staying this whole
Esri's
time.
also not an elf. That's very
Well, I'm
interesting.
sort of an elf
No, well-
prince. It's kind of complicated,
not this
but
again.
Apparently his mark isn't an aberrant one. It's an old mark that belonged to an elf house that, yeah. Vol.
Interesting.
that's what
An
it said,
old
yeah.
mark.
Apparently they're, yeah.
Well, I don't think
on
the
this
mark
continent.
itself is old. It's it's only been about a decade, but it's
The lineage of the mark dates back to this continent way, way back. Apparently.
Houseful. Interesting. Connection to the religion.
yeah. We don't know.
Fair enough.
That's all the information we have.
That might be worth. That might be a tree worth shaking.
But we
It's a
sleep in the
pretty
tree.
big tree.
Yeah.
It's hard to shake.
Right. Right. Well, look. I don't know what your interests are here.
Survival.
What she said.
All right.
I work for Carl.
And Carl does what?
He owns
A bar.
tavern.
Good.
Not just a bar. It's so much more.
It's an inn.
All right.
It's not anything more than that.
A reasonable job then. All right. Excellent. Well, here I have an idea of what. I have an idea of this place as an opportunity. Stormreach. I mean,
Yeah.
everywhere else has some kind of scar from the War of the Mark, but not this place. And this place is.
Are you involved? I've been reading about House Tarkanan in Sharn, and that tied to the. You don't have any involvement in that, do you?
Not at the moment, no.
Sorry, I interrupted you. Apologies.
It's at a some philosophical differences.
Yeah.
That's that's a bit of how I got here, actually. Some philosophical differences with Tarkanan. That's not what they're calling themselves anymore.
Oh.
That was my suggestion. But after our disagreement, they're calling themselves the Children of Khyber now. Which is encouraging.
Khyber's like the bad one, right?
Aye, yeah. Khyber's the dragon below, the home of aberrants and aberrations, gibbering mouthers, mind flayers, beholders, that sort of thing.
You would think that House Tarkanan carries an air of legitimacy, whereas Children of Khyber just sounds like a cult. Like, that's all it could sound like.
Yes, you're not, I think, wrong about the optics of the name. That was the idea. Give other aberrants a place to come and do useful work. And admittedly, the useful work was illegal, largely. But
Wouldn't know anything about that.
it was useful, and it was not always harmful. And when it was harmful to people who had more or less had it coming. But, as I say, philosophical disagreements with that movement have led me here, and them to a name change. And there we are, for now at least.
Were you the only one that had this philosophical difference, or was there a subsection that walked away?
There were some who left before I did, and some who left about at the same time. But I, as I say, had more or less run through my safe houses. So, crossed the Thunder Sea, which I did. You apparently had quite a lot earlier than I did.
Pirate City seemed to make sense to go off the grid.
That it does, yeah. Anyway, so I have an idea of maybe starting over. I've a possible line on some useful real estate for such purposes. So I ideally wouldn't need to borrow space on your floor. And an idea to, well, as I say, start over. Provide a place where aberrants can come and be safe. Figure out how to... Do you remember the line you were sold when you joined the Black Wheel?
I mean,
Coming to a place where you could learn to
control
use your mark
and-
safely,
Yeah.
control, do something useful with it, do something that meaningful with it, and make a positive difference in the world with this thing about you that was otherwise dangerous and destructive. That line.
And so far as I could tell, out of our group, they batted 0 for 4 on that front. So,
Well, I have this idea running around in my head that what if aside from the obviously openly manipulative parts of that, what if that was real?
it was true.
What if there was, in fact, a place where you could come and work out what that part of you means?
We know a good place in the
Without-
woods.
Say that again?
We know a good place in the woods where you can use your mark.
Right. The woods around here I understand to be
Lethal.
a bit dicey.
Oh, that's not that bad.
Right.
The woods are
well-
literally cursed to cause you to get lost.
I mean,
But
yes,
I-
but
That's not a bad thing.
just stay inside of the city.
What would you... I'm not going to speak for all of us, but if any of us wanted to buy into that, what would that look like?
Well, I need help securing the aforementioned real estate. I need help keeping an eye out for
What?
those that could use that sort of
let's stop
assistance.
We found
right there. What does that mean? You need money?
Actually, no. You know, a long time ago, a long time ago, I worked in Braillish intelligence.
Does that pay well?
It does actually pay fairly well, and your meals are provided, and you're given a place to live. And if it's wartime and you're always on a mission, it turns out you don't really have any opportunities to spend your pay. At least not on anything meaningful.
And travel opportunities.
and if you're not
That's
inclined-
another thing I was sold on.
If you're not inclined to spend your money on things that are not particularly meaningful, and you just arrange to have it all deposited in a bank and managed towards some fruitful investments, then even if you cease to exist officially, it turns out your bank accounts don't always.
Interesting.
One of the handful of useful things about House Kandaric, I suppose. So I'm actually pretty well healed as far as money goes. So that's not a problem, but... Well, I'll have to go to a different meeting about that, and it's something I would be perfectly willing for you to attend with me, if you're interested in knowing more. I'm not really in a position to offer you a lot, but some of you seem as though you could use a bit of help, and I think if we can make it worthwhile, there's space that could be carved out here. And if we can get even one of the Stormlords aboard,
Yeah.
then that's a bit of a wider space that can be carved out here. And if we can manage that, if we can carve out that space for Aberrants here, then in this place, even the Dragonmark won't have a hard time dislodging us.
I like that.
I'm not talking about an army, I'm not talking about a nation, I'm just, but a
Support.
space here.
We know a little girl who's got a mark, and the Stormlords want her pretty bad. We could grab her and hand her over if you need leverage.
What?
The Stormlords want a little girl.
What?
What for?
Well, she's dangerous. She causes a lot of problems.
This is Ari's face. Like, Ari's not hiding his own confusion about this.
Would
What are you talking about?
Wait,
You're talking about turning Don and Bella over to the Stormlords?
sure, that's an option.
for
For what?
why?
She's watching this engagement
Yeah.
very closely.
How would you feel about that, Thora?
Well, shade, I sense a note of accusation there. I know the interests of each of the Stormlords fairly well, and I can't, for the life of me, think of what they would do with what they would what use they would have for a little dragon-marked girl?
No, it's a test. Would you turn in?
Oh, I know the answer to that one. No.
I would like to roll insight now.
Go for it.
Sure, me too.
Well,
If I can.
22.
Yeah.
23.
I was so proud of my 22.
Nat 20. Let's go.
Whatever she
Thora.
rolled, it was a nat 20. Oh. You absolutely believe her with ironclad conviction.
I don't feel good about that after seeing the nat 20. That's
Okay, yeah,
like-
we've gone through a lot to keep her alive.
Oh, good. Which of the Stormlords has been chasing her exactly?
No one's chasing her. It's just, you remember Tommel? You know Tommel.
I remember Tommel.
Yeah, well, he doesn't seem to have much trouble, much compunction about threatening kids, including her. So, yeah, just
I've met a few
you know.
people. I've met a few people who walked out of the morning. It does things to you.
It does things to your eyes.
I didn't know that part.
His eyes go black. Anyway, I mean, I feel like we've had a conversation about, just trying to find a place here and get some security from what you're speaking about, especially the idea of getting a Stormlord on side. So, I'm not going to speak for anyone else, but meetings that you're taking, real estate, that stuff, I'm good with people usually, so I'd be more than happy to help in any way I can.
I am not good with people, and as long as you're not a liar and trying to deceive us, I would very much like to participate in ways that I could be helpful.
I am not a liar, and I am not trying to deceive you. And you can believe me, because I spent most of my life as a spy.
True.
I rolled a nat 20.
But
then you would be good at lying.
That's very true. I'm very, very good at lying.
you underwent physical harm to assist in our escape from a horrible situation.
I did do that.
From my perspective, literally only you or Dane could show up from our past, and I would give you the time of day. So I'm operating on that assumption that, yeah, you looked out for us once. You seem to have looked out for us multiple times. So I hope I'm not wrong about that, Thora, or else I will not hear the end of it from these two. I can assure you of that. Well, unless I'm dead, then I won't hear anything. But
Ugh, I will.
you will. Yes, Esri, I will.
Right. Philip laughed. Thora did not. Thora arches.
Seen that shit.
Thora's right eyebrow arches.
Esri hears dead people.
I'm still working it out.
It's a mark thing.
Your mark allows you to hear dead people.
It seems that way. Also, maybe make
There's-
the move. That's new as well.
What now?
What?
There's
Well, not again. Very new. Still
It is
experimenting.
every day with you. It's something. God. Yeah.
there's
Also,
a
gonna have-
mark.
I'm gonna have to talk with the head, with the bust.
Right. So
The bust
see,
of a head.
See, I haven't been spying on you that closely. Otherwise, I'd have some idea of what in the world we're talking about right now.
also, okay. Well, it's actually bringing this up. All of our marks have gotten bigger.
Oh, they do that.
Cool.
At least they have the potential to.
Great to have been told that when we were getting trained on how to use our marks.
Right. Yeah, that wouldn't have really been in their interest to tell you that very well, would they?
Well, yeah, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, okay.
Can they change your personality?
Can marks change your personality? Marks come at a cost. There's people I know whose marks do remarkable things, but it gives them terrible, terrible pain at all times. I knew a... Well, how much do you know about Tommel's mark?
Not a lot.
Cats don't like him.
It's on his leg.
That's true.
He's very proud of it.
He wears ridiculous pants that show it.
Right, yeah. Tommel's mark will allow him to inflict pretty excruciating pain on someone. Possibly incapacitating pain. He feels it. It doesn't physically harm him, but he feels it. I know there's a dwarf at least he started out a dwarf. It's hard to say whether he is a dwarf still anymore. You'll understand in a moment. He's with the children of Khyber. His body has extraordinary regenerative properties. Any harm to him, it will regenerate. But it doesn't seem to always regenerate what it used to be. He's got
In what way?
some places on his body that are scales now. One of his arms is not. It's not a dwarf's arm anymore. It's the arm off of an ogre or something like that. One of his eyes is definitely feline. It seems that there's just sort of a random chance of what exactly regenerates at the spot that he was injured.
Interesting.
So
Some unique applications to that.
it's a bit like that old philosophical concept, the ship of Lazar, where if you replace the bits of it, how long until it's not the original ship anymore? Yeah. So it can, I suppose, in some ways affect the personality. Some people's marks drive them mad. But I think if that was happening with any of you, it would have begun to manifest by this point, especially if your marks are already growing.
You would think that, yes.
Okay.
I mean, Ari's drinking a lot.
Okay, we don't need to get into that. That's not related to Mark. Anyway,
It seems like in the direction of a personal issue.
it is, and
It's not really what I do.
Yeah.
He has really bad taste in alcohol too.
Again, that really feels not my line of
Not,
work. You know?
not the time or place.
Right.
I mean, it's a bar.
Listen, I want to do the. I would welcome your assistance in
Yes.
what I want to do. I'm going to try to do it either way.
I mean, do you need like poison or drugs?
That might become useful at some point. Listen, not everyone's going to like when we do this. The houses definitely won't like when we do this, and they'll come at us sideways.
If the houses know of our existence, they're going to come at us sideways. So
Right.
it seems like no escalation there. As long
So-
as I'm just not in the interest of getting overtly violent against innocent people. So as long as we don't cross that line, then I don't see a problem.
I'm not looking to harm innocents. I'm not
Can
saying
I roll an
everything.
insight?
Sure. Of course you can.
Has previous insight worn off? Well, that's not going to do it.
No. 14?
It's just pretty hard to read.
Push it. No.
Yeah, Shade's terrible at reading people. This is very
I mean,
standard.
only
It is extremely suspicious.
only like you're missing this quadrant of her face for expression.
More importantly, Shade is terrible at hiding the fact that she's trying to read people. So Shade's just sitting there like,
100%.
But I need to
Shade,
understand.
it's not like a physical thing. You can relax. You just
If we're doing this, if you decide to do this, and you don't have to decide right now, but if you decide to do this with me, we're going to do it my way. And I'm sure you all have your own things going on, and that's fine. But I'm not going to be your mom. Right?
that's fair.
I'll do what I can to teach you how to control. I've had a lot of experience learning that. You have no idea what it's like to be in a facility full of dragon-marked individuals when the primary function of your mark is that you sense dragon-marked individuals.
Ooh.
I've had a lot of practice on control, and I can help you with that. We can pick back up lessons on fighting, on combat, on functioning slightly more cohesively in dangerous situations than I've had the opportunity to observe you doing so far.
You said your way. Give us the I can't come up with the magical equivalent of an elevator. Give us your hoverlift pitch. On what your way is.
Whatever we call this organization, whatever we call this operation, I'm in command of it. I'm running it. I'm interested in recruiting you. I think you have useful skills, and I'll want your input.
But it's not a democracy, is what you're saying.
We're not going to have a long conversation about every choice I make.
Yeah.
But if we disagree, then we can just leave at any time.
I'm not going to hold anyone prisoner. You're welcome to talk
Anyone
to me if you
like
disagree.
ever? Because I mean, there might be
Oh
some
my god.
that are. We have a Tommel problem, is the thing, and
Thora, it's been 2 years. It's
I
been
think
2 years.
I think it sounds awesome though.
When are you meeting about the real estate thing?
In about 15 minutes.
Cool.
oh, I can't produce
I-
poisons that quickly.
I don't think that's needed for a real estate meeting.
Well, I don't know.
No, I'm not looking to poison anyone at this meeting.
All right.
I would be interested in joining you just to get an idea of what's
All
going on.
right?
Yeah, I mean,
rest
we
of
don't
you?
really like being split up these days very much. So, yeah, I mean, if ours going, we should probably.
Pog, you've been rather quiet.
I'll go.
All right. Well, let's go. And she gets up and walks to the booth at the back of the room and sits down.
Oh, good. I can just bring my drink with me. Great.
Can't we just use this one?
Ari gestures at the waiter that we're switching tables.
Wait, is there someone where she went to sit down?
Well, when you approach the booth, yes, there is a gnome sitting in the booth, and it is Kira Selshadra.
I thought she was our best chance. I didn't get a chance to say that, but that's where I was going. Back
Ari
there
slides in
the
next
room.
to Thora on the side that she sat on in the booth.
Selshadra looks up. Yes, you brought more people. All right.
I bet you have really good taste in alcohol. What do you get? What do you order here?
Oh, I don't order here. You can have this. And she slides the glass across to you. I order so that I can use the table.
That's good.
They'd probably just let you use the table, wouldn't they? I mean,
People would ask questions, and sometimes I don't want to be noticed. Right. Thora, we are agreed to proceed, then you have had your conversation. I think they're in. Right. And she pulls out a piece of paper and hands it over to Thora. You understand that by the laws of Pirate Code, I am required to announce the salvage operation publicly, but this ought to give you heads up and opportunity to set yourself up for it, to get there first.
is pirate code written down anywhere? Like, can we...
Largely, no.
I've heard it's more like a set of guidelines.
Oh. I'd like to read it. Just...
No, if it could be read, that would defeat a lot of the purpose of it.
I mean, are you just... It sounds like you're kind of making it up each time.
You are not incorrect. As the head of a substantial pirate family, I do have... What I say about it has a weight. It becomes precedent of a sort. This, in case Thora did not fill you in, this is the announcement of I am opening salvage on a piece of real estate in the city that has been vacated for several decades now, but has never been available for salvage. Others will almost certainly be interested in salvaging it first and perhaps acquiring it for themselves, but you all ought to have the opportunity to at least get in place before the announcement. Thora, I was thinking of posting the salvage operation availability in the morning. Will that give you enough time to be in action? I could wait as long as the next day if you need the day.
You keep... I'm sorry. You keep using the word salvage, but I've never heard that used for a building before.
No, it is not traditionally in most legal systems. However, under pirate code, we have a tendency to use exclusively nautical terminology.
So we are talking about a building?
We are, yes. There is a large estate on one of the floating portions of the city that was vacated by its owner some decades ago when he disappeared into the jungles of Zindrick. And it's widely believed at the time to have a terrible curse laid on it, and so remained closed to any attempt to salvage or claim it. But Thora has offered me some persuasion to open it. But I cannot simply give it to her. I have to technically open it to others, and that means technically posting the salvage availability publicly.
Okay.
I have no further continuation of that statement. That is the rule of salvage.
Fair.
The end.
Makes sense.
Thor,
What
what is our part in this? How are we helping with this part?
Well, we're going to have to secure the location and make sure we're the ones that secure the location in case others come sniffing around trying to take it for themselves, or
This is
in the
like
event
a
that there really
race?
is. Well, in a sense, yes. Well,
What's the nature
let me
of
put
the
it
curse, allegedly?
put it this way. Suppose that there's a shipwreck, and a pair of pirate vessels were to come upon the shipwreck at the same time, and it both attempt to salvage it. In the best case scenario, they would have a conversation and agree. Actually, in the most likely scenario, whichever one has the biggest ship and most heavily armed is going to end up winning, because the other is going to change course and move off. But in the worst case scenario, they would end up fighting it out over the salvage.
Okay.
Yes. Thora, I believe our business is concluded, and I have been around far too many people today, so unless there are urgent matters, I will leave you.
It sounds like it's last call anyway. So
Right.
yeah,
Yes.
we're really gonna need to sleep.
you-
Some of us.
You know that bars in this town do not close.
I guess I don't.
He doesn't get up much. Yeah.
Right. Well, not
true.
most of them. Not ones that are. Anyway, I'm going to go now. And she genuinely just simply slides out of her seat and walks out under the table.
I love your energy.
So, Thor, what kind of curse was she mentioning?
No idea.
Cool. Okay. So, sounds like we need to go tonight to secure.
Tonight would be grand, but frankly, a few of you look as though you've been, run over by a ground cart.
My lungs are literally still on fire, so yeah.
So maybe not so much.
So if we could sleep and then
We also probably need to talk about it.
That's fair enough.
Well,
Well-
between us.
I'll tell you what. I'll hang around nonchalantly in that square outside your treehouse sometime near dawn tomorrow morning, and if you're interested, come on out.
Okay. Sounds fair.
Right. Well, drinks are on me. She leaves some money on the table and gets up and
Oh
walks
wait.
out.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you.
And that is where we will wrap up that episode. Thank you so much for listening. If you'd like to get in touch with us, do all of the engagement buttons down there. Just click wildly
if you see a
on
button,
all of the buttons.
press it.
Yes. Additionally, in the description, you'll find links to all of our social media, as well as to our Discord, which is by far the easiest place to get an answer to anything you might have to say or questions about this show. If you would like to submit questions for Friday's Khyber Shards Answers, you can do so in the appropriate channel on our Discord or in the comments below. You'll also find a link to Colin's Twitch stream, twitch.tv/sorrybtr. The O is a 0. And Colin streams regularly on Tuesdays, as well as whenever he bloody well feels like it. That's not accurate. He has a very busy
It's
job,
and/or
so it's
can.
really just sort of whenever he's allowed to and is awake.
I think
So-
that language is not channel appropriate in certain parts of the world. There, Phil.
Fair enough. Apologies. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. This has been Khyber Shards, and thanks for rolling with us.